Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Draft Digital's Self-Publishing Insiders Live. You are not watching the Brady Bunch, but I can understand how you would be confused. But this is a very special episode of SPI. We got a whole bunch of folks with us here, all of whom were instrumental to making NINC 2023 the raging success that it was. So let's welcome everybody. I don't even know how to do introductions here. Do we want to like round robin this or something, or should I just like point to people and you talk?
Go down the Brady Bunch grid.
We'll go to the Brady Bunch. I got Mel Jolly over here. Mel, say hello to the good folks.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, she and Todrick Kendall also joining us. They help plan and orchestrate all the fun NINC stuff. Lot of work, so big cheers for those guys. We got Clayton. I'm not gonna, every time I say your last name I butcher it somehow, man. I'm sorry, Clayton.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I'm Clayton Noblet.
Yes, I always I make that the wrong, I go long or short, I don't know which one I use, but you're with Written Word Media.
I am indeed. And had a great time at NINC, and big thanks to Mel and Todra for making it such a great conference.
We've also got Cameron Sutter with Plotter, home of the famous Plotter Otter. If you are not familiar, welcome, Cameron.
Thank you. It's awesome to be in this group with you guys. It's really exciting.
And of course, James Blatch, who's somebody no one knows at all in this industry. We're just throwing him a bone, but welcome to the show, James, from Self-Publishing Formula itself. James Blatch, everybody.
Thank you for having me along and giving me a little boost. I'm honestly, I'm thrilled to be here, and it's such a great conference. Honestly, I look forward to it so much, and I know how much work goes into it. I think all of us probably start seeing emails in about 5 weeks' time for the start of next year, and we know.
I'm surprised we're not already seeing Mel and Todra sending us emails right this moment. Honestly.
Some of us in this room have already gotten emails from us.
You must not be checking your emails, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll get to it. All right, and of course we can't go without mentioning the D2D folk in the room. We got Jim Azevedo, who is our head of corporate communications at Draft Digital, and Nick Thacker, who is the head honcho of author success at Draft Digital. That's I feel honored to be in your presence, Mr. Thacker.
I'm one of the honchos. Yeah,
you're a honcho. You're you're in the honcho neighborhood. So okay, well that took up a good 20 minutes of our podcast there. But now I do want to mention up front, there's two things we want to mention. First of all, we got some folks who are going to have to ditch out a little early, so pay close attention to them up front. Don't hesitate to ask them questions right away. And that's the other thing that I want to pop up is be sure to ask your questions in the comments about NINC, about anything else you want. We reserve the right to not respond to you if we think you're off the rails, but we are happy to chat about just about anything. So ask your questions in the comments. For those of you listening later on or watching this, you're not necessarily watching this live, you could still post some questions on YouTube and elsewhere, and we'll try to get to you. So NINC 2023. I don't even know who to go to first, but I will share, like, this was a very special conference meet. Always is. But we at Draft Digital, this is the one that's the sort of trendsetter for us for the entire year. I don't know how everyone else feels about that. For the folks who just attend NINC, what is your take on that?
Do any of us here just attend NINC? I was going to say, I think, none of us here just attend NINC, right? We're all.
Well, I guess that's true. I just meant, there's two of you who organize the thing. You're biased, but the folk among us, like Clayton, I don't know how you guys think about NINC. What's your take? What's the benefit of it?
Yeah, I think your point about it being kind of a trendsetter or a good barometer for where the industry going is a good one. I think we go to a lot of different conferences, not as many as D2D does, but we go to a few, and we always we're a book marketing company, and so I do a lot of teaching authors about book marketing and different ways they can market their books with Written Word Media. And at NINC, I do a lot more learning than I do at other conferences because so many of the instructors are so good, and so many of the authors that are there are also doing a lot of cool, innovative stuff when it comes to marketing their books and publishing in general. So the quality of the content and what you learn at NINC is really high.
Mr. Blatch, you are I think the one who travels furthest to visit us in the hot and sweaty world of Florida. What draws you? Why?
I don't think I was the furthest there. There were definitely some Aussies there.
Right.
Although, AJ Stewart lives in LA, so he cheats by living there.
I mean in our Brady Bunch grid.
In the Brady Bunch, I traveled furthest. 10-hour flight, whatever it was. I mean, every conference has its own feel, doesn't it? And I think NINC probably has the most distinctive feel of all the conferences. And I will say, beyond what you learn and the conversations you have and the networking, all of which are stellar at NINC, I actually really look forward to it as a kind of recharging period. We all live busy lives. I particularly seem to live a busy life, and I crave that sort of week on the beach with my friends. And I come back from that a little bit energized from it. There's a lot to be said for joining the organization and becoming a regular at the conferences, having that little moment where you can just soak up some information, have some beers, and soak up some sun, particularly when you live in grey England. But I would go along completely with the level of learning is that much higher. At NINC, I think you can get it at 20 books. I think probably not at our conference because we have to pitch it. We have one room. It's like a theatre. So it has a slightly different feel again. 20 books, you've got to be careful and find those moments. But NINC, almost every session you go into is correctly pitched, I think, for the people there. And that makes a big difference. So I don't come out of a session at NINC without notes. Let's put it that way.
That's true. Cameron, go ahead.
I was just going to say, NINC is definitely my favorite conference of the year, the one I look forward to. It's the best one.
Yeah. Do you think, how do you see, because one of the things I've noticed is like everyone who attends NINC, all of us who are in this service side of the publishing industry, a lot of relationships get formed there that end up becoming like integral to our business. How has that benefited you?
Oh man, it's been huge, especially. So I started coming a couple years ago, and I was very new to. I was kind of just running Plotter on my own and didn't know anybody, and so I was just like living in a bubble. And as soon as I started coming to these conferences, just like the ability to just meeting people just exploded things, and not only my connections with people and just knowing people, but also just the value that I can bring to people, and also that I can get from people. It's been awesome. The relationship's so powerful.
So Mel and Tadra and Mel, you're both melded together into one being in my mind at this point.
You're not the only one.
Aside from dealing with curmudgeonly guys who don't respond to their emails on time, what is the biggest challenge you guys face in organizing NINC?
Well, I think it's probably important to note, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, NINC is Novelists, Inc., and it is an organization, before it's even a conference, of that you have to attain a certain level of, you have to qualify financially as an author in order to be a member. So I think that leads into one of our big challenges is how do we find and present content that is going to be new and exciting and challenging for our very smart, very high level members. And that's always, we have a habit of saying to people over and over again, if they haven't been to the conference, just so you know, this is like a master's level. And a lot of times they'll just go, yeah. And then they're there for a day and they say, I had to rewrite my whole presentation. You were right.
Yeah.
It is. I tell you, having presented there a few times, it is nerve-wracking at NINC. Getting the pitch right is always, I think, a bit tricky with presenting, and there will always be someone in the room who knows everything you're about to say, and other people who perhaps think you've gone ahead of where they can learn. But at NINC, it is nerve-wracking. I think that from my experience on the craft side, it needs to be up here. There's nobody in that room who doesn't think a lot about craft and has read a lot of self-help books, but quite a lot of the technical stuff. I can present technical stuff. We did TikTok, I think, last year, and there were definitely people in the room who were like, whoa, how does that work? And I think some of the AI stuff as well this year is
that's the cheat code. You don't present on craft or you're going to be
terrifying.
And that's one of the nice things about NINC being a multi-track conference. We usually have at least 3 tracks of workshops going, or 3 workshops going at the same time. I think it was James mentioned the pitch for the workshop really being on point. That's something that Tadra and I, and then our programming team works really hard with the speakers going back and forth. We don't just like generally like here, like take whatever blurb is initially given or taking whatever workshop pitch is initially given, because we want to make sure that it's worded right for the audience, that it's got the right hook, that it's going to be at the level and of interest to the audience. And we every year try to hone that more and more and more, so that when you're speaking in the room, you have the right audience already there based on what they read in the app and in the program.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys do an amazing job at that. And I end up missing every single talk that I want to see because I'm always speaking at the same time. So
we do that on purpose.
They do that on purpose. That we don't need
for
Kevin
you specifically
learning and growing.
Mel calls all of us a week before and checks what we think you'll want to go to.
100%. And then I text Kevin's
You told
wife.
them, guys. Gee.
So Nick, you've presented at NINC before. What's your feeling like? What's the pressure like when you're presenting to these geniuses?
I think to your credit, Mel and Tadra, like I didn't feel any pressure from the conference. I felt pressure from myself to put on a good show and bring it information wise. But I've always gotten the sense that NINC was in some way a celebration. It's sort of the end of the year for a lot of people, fiscal year, and it's almost like the celebration of what we've tried this year, and then kind of a taste of what's to come in a lot of ways. I know Draft Digital, we try to bring, here's what we're working on now, and maybe you guys would disagree with this, but it seems like NINC is where we announce a lot of that stuff, sometimes for the first time. And that's always a lot of fun because you get in a room with people who typically already know, if not who we are, what we do, and they're familiar with distribution, even if they've maybe not heard who we are. And so it's really fun and easy to be able to say, this is what we're working on, and this is what I think we're going to be able to bring to you guys. You're going to love it, and usually they're pretty happy about it. But you are absolutely, all of you are right about the level, the quality of presentations just needing to be a little bit higher. And I'm not going to point any fingers, but I did go to a presentation where it wasn't what people expected, and people were leaving the room. But unfortunately, they didn't leave all at the same time. They left one at a time every 10 seconds, and the door was really loud. I was in there going, "Oh, this is so." Okay, I guess I've been up there. I know what this feels like, and they're doing a great job, but it just wasn't what the people thought it was going to be. And so it's just a testament to how well you guys are able to craft that, and then. I guess the flip side is that we as the presenters have to make sure that we're bringing that, and that's on us.
There you go, Mel. That's something we need to add to the list is WD-40 for the doors next
year.
Well, it's the lobby noise, I think, but
it was the door. It was squeaking, and it would kind of hit. It would go, boom, but it wouldn't just do it once. It would squeak and go, doop.
That's when you text Mel, and then Mel texts the hotel like squeaky door.
Nah, it was hilarious, so I just let it slide.
That hotel is so good, and one of the things we appreciate about the vendors and that we try to support in the way that we do programming is nothing at NINC is recorded. So there's no workshop recordings, and there is a reporter in the room that will then take their notes and write an article, which will then be published in the NINC monthly newsletter for our members who can't attend. However, it gives you guys and it gives all the vendors freedom to present things that they might not want to present elsewhere. I know that D2D has offered special trials, just to our members, when you guys were doing print, when you were rolling out print or hardbacks or something.
Yeah.
And they love that stuff. So
yeah. I kind of wish we had more of that kind of thing that we could offer, but I think there's plenty of people in this call who have things they can toss out there as bonuses later. Jim,
yes,
you
sir.
actually were last year was the first time you'd ever actually been to NINC. So as a newcomer, what's the thing that stands out most to you?
The two things that stand out to me. Number one, I think James kind of alluded to this a little bit, but for me, NINC was the conference where the trends that are emerging are really they pop at NINC more so than at any other conference. You walk out of there knowing that, oh, okay, these are the two trends or three trends or whatever, but one trend that we need to really pay attention to. going forward. And then secondly, the networking opportunities. Every conference offers networking opportunities. But going into NINC, I was thinking, well, this is a higher level crowd. It's going to be tough to meet people. And it was the exact opposite. It seemed like it was easier to meet people. And the Novelists Inc. crew are just amazing at grabbing people and saying, "Oh, hey, Jim, have you met so-and-so over here from such and such?" I love that. That is so good. So thank you guys for doing that. Whether or not you consciously are doing it, or it's just who you are and you're trying to do that, that really stood out to me. So thank you for that. And I think that is why NINC as a conference, as an industry event, kind of stands head and shoulders above some other events.
I will say too, I think NINC is the only conference where real Oompa Loompas are in attendance.
Yeah,
What?
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I didn't see any.
About.
I missed
That
that.
is yeah, so
Don't
that
know what
was
you're
fun.
talking
We
about.
did a every year there is a very special event on Saturday evenings. That's the Draft to Digital karaoke night. Something we started years ago, and now is an official part of NINC, which is I think pretty impressive. But this year's theme was Halloween, and we had a very special appearance from an actual live action Oompa Loompa. Who sounded an awful lot like Jim Azevedo. I also want to call out, I want to give special props to Dan Wood, who
Yeah, I was going to say
literally
we have to
shaved
mention
his
Dan.
beard. Yeah, dude showed up as Ted Lasso, shaved his beard, left the mustache. It was just an amazing costume. If I could have given him the prize for best costume, I would.
Not to mention, he was at dinner, which
Yeah.
is right before karaoke, fully bearded. And then he said, I have to leave and get ready for my costume. Okay.
The secret is he didn't actually shave. He just sucked all that back in. So he was kind of come out Play-Doh Fun Factory style later. So yeah, so Tadra and Mel, when you guys are planning all this, what's the level of work you really have? I mean, where does it start? Because to me, this is a nightmare. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to email people. So how do you do it? What's your secret?
We start the next year's conference really in the weeks leading into the conference we're about to do, because we're always saying, okay, this worked really well, but we could do it better, or this didn't work, so how are we going to do it better? And we have a fabulous team of volunteers who are just, they just give so much of their time and energy and are very smart. And if we say, this is what we're struggling with, and they'll say, oh, well, what if we did it this way? And, so that's always very helpful. So we usually we take maybe a week off after the conference, although we're already talking about it. I mean, I drove home a week ago, Tuesday, and I talked to Mel the whole way, and it was all conference stuff. It was almost a 3-hour trip, and it was all conference as we.
I'm sure it was all conference.
It was all conference stuff. She was taking notes. I mean, all I had to do was drive. She took the notes. But
Dan's beard is conference related, Kevin. So they talked for 3 hours about that.
It absolutely is. There you go.
Cuddling an otter doesn't count as conference stuff.
It really helps that both Tadra and I have a lot of years of experience in conference planning now, because Tadra planned a conference. How many years ago? What was the first year for that event?
2013.
2013. I think it was maybe Dan Wood's first event, and
it was
possibly Kevin Tumlinson's first event.
It wasn't his first
2016.
He showed up. He showed up in 2016. Yes.
Yeah, that's when I made my first appearance. That was so everything else was pre-K.
So Tadra and I joke she raised these boys. So
they were
the years of experience compounding with Tadra and I have very different skill sets, which is part of what makes us such good partners. Tadra is so amazing with the outreach, and she knows almost everybody in the industry and has this long history with them. And then I just naturally organize things. I was making a spreadsheet this morning for something personal. So I love organizing things into spreadsheets. I was actually walking past a conversation between two industry professionals at NINC, and I heard one of them saying to the other, how do you keep up with it all? I just can't keep it all in my head. And I was like, you need Basecamp. Tell me about it. Just inserted myself. But we have a team of about 15 volunteers. with a variety of responsibilities. We have it really broken out. We try to give everybody ownership of their part. And then Todra and I do oversight, making sure all the teams are communicating. And we do use Basecamp for it, which I adore. And I'm in charge of assigning to-dos to everybody.
I should make it clear this episode of the SBI is not being brought to you by Basecamp.
Yeah.
You are welcome to go try.
Just love it.
Clayton, how much of your year is spent thinking about NINC at this point? Do you guys?
The correct answer is 12 months, Clayton.
That's when the
Every
start.
the discussion about the bringing it with your presentation, that's real, right? Like we think about that earlier in the year, and we also think about new products as well, and kind of like everybody at NINC. I don't think we met a single person that didn't know about written word media and what we do, and so we want to have something new and exciting each year, and so we definitely think about NINC in terms of launching products and having new exciting stuff to tell authors about. But then I'm also I don't know when you guys reach out to start asking for workshop pitches. It feels like maybe February or March. Like I'm thinking about it in January. It's on my mind. Like, hey, I've got to have something ready that I feel like is going to be at the level. So definitely takes up more time than other conferences in terms of how far ahead I'm planning for it. But I think it actually helps a lot because I'm much more prepared going in. And I plan the year around it a little bit more. So the organization is fantastic. So thank you both for keeping me in line with that.
That does make it a little easier, even though it's a lot of work you put on our shoulders with your 50 emails. Instead of asking me one time, I got to answer in like 50 emails over the course of the year.
And this is why we deal with Jim now.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Let me note this too. Everybody on this call is a multi-time NINC sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
And Clayton's mention of like everybody knowing, really recognizing you and Emma because you've come multiple times, but also knowing written word media and knowing Plotter and knowing SBF and knowing D2D. You guys sponsor every year, and so we're able to do like a lot of pushes, a lot of email communication to our attendees. We use an excellent conference app, and we're able to do a lot of push notifications. And we really honed in a couple of years ago on how can we make sure attendees are like ready in advance, so that and like training them that you guys are there because you want to talk to them and you want to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Well, that shows itself in the happy hour, which I think you introduced last year, and that's been hugely successful. I mean, that room is buzzing and packed. And
what a nice segue, James. I'll be sending you your check shortly.
I was going to ask you too about that. I was going to ask you too, like, how do you what are some of your recommendations for authors who are coming to the conference maybe for the first time, as far as apart from the obvious of attend as many sessions as you can and networking, but how do you get them to network effectively? Like, do you have any suggestions for them, especially if they're first timers?
It was really interesting. I do an uncon the day before the conference, which is about 50 to 55 people. And then for the last 2 years, I've done a postcon, which is much smaller, like between 10 to 15 people. And I shamelessly pick their brains about how we can make things better. And, and at the postcon, one of the things they said this year that we've already talked about is when you all are sitting in the lobby, the grand colonnade, some of the people said I don't know whether they are like waiting for somebody or they want me to come up. So they asked if we could provide a sign, like just a little, I don't know, like a tent card or something that one side says, come up and talk to me. And the other side says in a meeting or about to start a meeting or something like that. Yeah. Just that would give people, that they would know that they could come up and talk to you. We've talked about shirts that say, hi, I'm Jim from Draft to Digital. Ask me about, I don't know. Yeah.
Awesome. So I have that shirt already.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. So check that off our list, Mel. We don't have to order Jim a shirt.
Well, and we do find the past couple of years we've given first time attendees the option to put a ribbon on their badge that says they're first timers. And I think the NINC crowd does really well, both vendors and members, of going to those people and be like, oh, well, welcome. We're so glad you're here. This is kind of the vibe.
I have literally led those folks around by the hand at times. They're just introducing them to people.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And I know Todra, like somebody, I think this was you, right? I'm not making this up. somebody had been communicating with you beforehand and said, this is my first time, I'm very nervous.
Right.
And they came up to the registration desk and they're like, can I talk to Tadra? And Tadra's like, yes, come here. And she took them right over to a friend group that they
I said, here you go. You'll be happy here. These people will not stop talking. Just stay with them. And by the end, she had made several. We always saw her with a group of people. And I noticed that the different folks who I introduced her to were checking to make sure she had somebody to sit with at lunch, and that she was never, and she was fine, and she was great. So I do. I get a couple emails usually every year saying, I'm an introverted introvert, but I'm going to come, and am I going to hate it? No.
Yeah.
That's another reason I think why the happy hour works so well, because I think even the introverts, when they've got that book in their hand, it's an excuse to go up. It's a reason. So I think people feel underconfident sometimes walking up to you in the lobby and saying, hi, I just want to say hello. Some people do, but some people don't.
Right.
But when they've got a reason to come and say to you, can you stamp my book? And that's a conversation. And I thought, honestly, I go on about it, but I think it's a really good addition to the conference.
Yeah.
Tadra, will you explain your brainchild?
Well, we had a what was it called, a vendor room or something in 2019. Well, in 2019 it was a trade show. It was a trade show, I'm sorry. And it was fine in 2019, and then we did not have it in 2020 and 2021. I can't think of why. But in 2020, I guess in 2021 we had a version of it.
Yeah.
And afterwards Kevin came out to the registration desk. I felt that he had been elected by all of the sponsors to come tell me, we don't like this. We want to be out with the people. Don't make us go sit in a room. And so we started brainstorming what would be a way that we could have a place where the attendees could come meet all the sponsors, but have a reason, have an incentive to go do it. And that's when we came up with the passport. Do you have one? I was going to say
I think
have
I
one
do
here.
actually.
And so basically it's in the Banyan Breezeway, and all of the sponsors are allowed to have a table. There we go. And the people come in and have a passport.
It's the plotter page.
Yes, and there you
Right
go.
to plotter.
Right.
And then
You don't have a stamp there. My
No.
goodness.
Right to plotter. Yeah.
You didn't go. Looks like you didn't even go.
And then the fun thing is that after you complete your passport, you bring it back up and you get 5 tickets, and there are prizes that are incredible. And you can put your ticket in for the prizes that you want to win, and we draw the names, and everybody's happy.
And some people, so we go to all the sponsors. You can only participate as a vendor if you sponsor the event. And we purposely set it on Thursday now, so it's at the beginning. So like James was saying, it's a really good icebreaker now. So people already had, like a 10-second conversation with you, and they feel more comfortable coming up to you in the lobby. We scheduled all the office hours, all the sponsor office hours, and as many of the workshops as we could for following that event too. So you could encourage people to come to those things. Where was I going with this? I don't remember.
No one knows.
And you had we had signs on the table this year.
No, I know what it was. The sponsors donate the prizes, and some of them donate priceless prizes, like plush plotter otters.
Can't put a price on that.
Next year,
brought to you by genuine child labor.
Next year, Dan Wood is donating his
Kevin's just so jealous of this otter. It's really sad. It really is. Really sad.
Were you saying, James, about next year?
I say next year, Dan Wood's donating his beard. He's kept it.
Kept it.
It's in a little plastic bag.
We're gonna knit a little mini Dan for people to bid on.
Well, one of the other priceless things is that Draft to Digital usually includes in the prize the opportunity to sing the first karaoke song with a D2D member.
D2D person of their choice. So far the winners have yet to ever actually want to do the first song. They always wait until later.
Well, this year we didn't make it the first song.
Yeah, we just said a D2D member of your choice. Yeah,
that's probably better. Better. I think it's funny, but who will bid on that, and then they get all shy about it.
They're like, "Well, I didn't really want that. I wanted that."
Maybe we should make it the 11 p.m. song.
There you go.
Because at that point it's loud enough and fun enough. But the nice thing about this Meet Our Sponsors Happy Hours, it's a really truncated period of time too. Right. So like everybody can get in there, get what they want, get their prizes, meet people, and then off they go.
It works great.
It does.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things about the location, right? Is if you're somebody who gets really exhausted talking to people and you need like a little alone time, there's an amazing beach you can go out to. It's a 3-minute walk and get away, sit on a cabana for a little bit. So that's a big benefit of the conference, I think.
But then you have to deal with the ocean, and nobody really. Does anyone really like the ocean?
Yes.
Anyone like this
Everything in the
conference?
ocean is trying to kill you. Cameron, you I don't know, how many conferences do you go to each year at this point?
There's a surprising number in Oklahoma. So I do several in
True.
Oklahoma, and then so I do about 5 a year, something like that.
Is this the bigger of the ones that you go to remotely, or is there one that's more massive?
No, this is probably the biggest one. I mean,
I
20
think
Books
so.
has more people, but it's not.
It's not as high level.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, 20 Books. We love it. We love everybody at 20 Books, but there is a different crowd.
Yeah.
So, and I think both are beneficial for authors to attend. But
And I will say about the things in the ocean, my wife saw a manatee, which is the coolest thing ever. I wanted to see that. I've never seen one.
We saw one this year as well. Just the other side of the road. One of our friends was staying in that block of apartments, the other side of the road, and there was a manatee in the
the causeway. Yeah. Mel's husband saw a dolphin.
I saw a dolphin.
Came like really close to him.
And he meant a football player, by the way, not the level.
I hope a football player wasn't thrashing a fish in the water.
Well, it's Florida.
I don't know. Have you seen some of the Miami Dolphins? I mean, some of them
I don't
might
do
be doing
sports
that.
ball.
Yeah, I don't.
I will say in Northern California, if you see a big dark shape coming towards you in the ocean, you need to sprint toward the shore.
Right.
Because that is the Loch Ness monster.
Right. That's what it is. I have a question for Mel and Tadra. The app, have you always used the Whova app as part of the event? Because I think it's great.
Yeah. We started using an app in 2020. Yes. But there were only 40 of us that year. So it was it was like either use the app or open your window and yell out to the other person who's here because there were so few of us. And then we switched to Whova in 2021.
Okay.
And a lot of that was, there were a couple different reasons. One was that we felt like the program during the pandemic time was not great. We didn't want to be handing people things. That was one thing. The other thing is it's a lot of trees die for that program.
Yeah.
And then another is that it's really not great to be flexible. So if we need to change somebody's room or we need to change an office hours or whatever, it takes us about 30 seconds on the app as opposed to, trying to tell everybody, hey, don't go here, so
And we love the app that we are currently using because attendees can message each other. So that's one of the things that we tell you guys in advance is like, if you want to set up one-to-one meetings, go ahead and start DMing people. We open the app about 3 weeks prior to the conference for attendees.
Yeah. And it does. It's always cool to see them like start to make friends. And, if you're there early, somebody will say, hey, I'm going to go to dinner. This is what I'm wearing. Come find me.
Yes.
Right. And the icebreaker in the app itself works really well too for people who are new to like put their information into the icebreaker. And everyone's like, oh, hi. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the event. That's
Yeah.
Very
It's been
cool.
a good thing.
It's kind of become the de facto app for conferences, I think, author conferences at least. So yeah, I hate it, of course. All those notification things, like it just drives me crazy. I can't clear them. There's a million of them. Whatever. It's like this is like being in the ocean.
We're gonna have our app volunteer set aside some time for a Kevin tutorial before next year.
Yeah, exactly. So what about? I mean, it seemed like everything went super smoothly this year. No problems at all. You guys didn't have to deal with any drama. So kudos to you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. None at all.
Even if we did, you'd never know about it.
That's exactly right. Although some of us got told that we were the least of problems, but whatever.
Here we go.
So
I only talk that way to my friends.
I understand, and I appreciate that. So we had someone ask in the comments if you've already picked a date for 2024 yet. Do we know when NINC is
Yeah.
happening?
We do.
Yeah,
I
the
pulled it up.
dates are planned ahead because our contracts are signed so far in advance.
Okay.
So go
Yeah.
ahead, Mel.
So we have September 18th through the 22nd, 2024, and September 17th through the 21st, 2025.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Those
those
got
were
the sweatiest months of the year.
we choose it. We say, when would Kevin be most uncomfortable to come
That
to
is-
Florida?
I mean, I know I'm a curmudgeon and all, but I mean, when I get there, I just start sweating from the moment the plane lands until I leave. So it's a sweaty, hot, nasty mess.
Padre,
the
do
whole-
you think we can plan more outside events and assign Kevin to them,
I
like
know, I think
perhaps
that's
in the
I
middle
know,
of the
yeah.
day?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
show up in
yeah.
a bubble, one of those like bubble suits with some
I
air
think that's a
conditioning
great
blowing.
idea. Yeah, I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
So what I'm trying to think of like highlights. Like there are things that are always exciting to me, but then I realize, oh, a lot of that is stuff that we orchestrate. Like I look forward to the karaoke every year, of course.
Right.
There is James, you actually posted on Twitter early days of the conference a little black and white photo of an iconic structure at NINC, and that is the Tiki Hut. Do you want to wax poetic about the Tiki Hut?
Yeah. I mean, it's an important part. Actually, funny enough, it was an important part of 20 Books before they moved. There's a sort of central bar that people go to. And again, the people who aren't as confident and perhaps on their own, don't know as many people, it's great for that. But the Tiki Bar has become a bit of a legendary place. All sorts of conversations and deals and friendships have been struck. And I have a group of very close friends who go well beyond author friends now, who I found, over a beer at the Tiki Bar at night. And we actually call ourselves the Tiki Bar Pals in our little WhatsApp group. So yeah, it is. I think it is a place of legend, and it's an important part of the conference. That's another reason why I think NINC works so well. The location is not huge, so you're never far away from each other. And if you want to, you can go off to the beach and have a nap. You can go back to your room and have a nap or whatever. There's, and then you come back out and you're right in the throng of it again. It's if you wanted to plan a conference, I would, for any industry, I would come and have a look at the way NINC works, because that sense of community. From those various events. But yeah, the Tiki Bar is it's legendary. We need to do t-shirts, don't we?
We do. We do need a Tiki Club kind of t-shirt. We'll work on that. It was kind of I got thrown off a little this year because everything was under renovation and construction. The thing that broke my heart was that the Shark Tooth Tavern is now a Pizza Hut.
It is not. This is a temporary situation. By the time we get back there next year, all things being equal, the Pizza Hut and the ice cream place will be back in the Breckenridge, and the Shark Tooth will have reclaimed its heritage.
We had to do our SPF drinks, which we normally do on site there, which is also, we slightly cheekily, but because we have a podcast, we do ask people if they're not at the conference, they can still come and have a drink with us in that one evening. It's not a bad way of them getting introduced to NINC, by the way, as well. But we had to move it it wasn't even Charlie's Coconuts, whatever it's called next door. It was the one after that. And it happened to coincide with that monumental storm we had that evening. But I tell you what, we still had, I don't know, 40 or 50 people at its peak. It was still rammed. I think most people did wait for the danger to life to pass. We missed the Shark Tooth Tavern. But do you think it'll be back next year? I think
so.
I believe so. They were working.
Right. They hope that the Breckenridge will be finished by May.
Okay.
And so we hope that will be the case. We'll be keeping our eye on it. If I'm forced to drive down and check on it,
oh boy,
I will do it. I'll take one.
The sacrifices.
The sacrifices.
I
And
just wanted to chime in really quick. I know Clayton's got to bounce out of here. So Clayton, I wanted to go ahead and set you free. I don't want you to stay if you're going to be late.
Yes.
Thanks, Jim. Great to see everybody. Thanks for
joining, Clayton.
We'll see you at the next NINC, Clayton.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Clayton.
Yes. And I'm actually going to.
Yes.
Also
this is the part where we start losing everybody from the show.
But I appreciate it. Thank you for letting us kind of have a little 2 week out.
Oh, absolutely.
Revisit and talk about it. And we look forward to seeing.
We'll have to make this a tradition. Make this like NINC 2.0 each year.
Yeah, I want if our viewers enjoy this kind of thing, like these little fireside chats or little happy hour things, let us know, because we can do these more often.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, have a wonderful day, everybody. See you
Thanks,
next year.
Tadra.
Bye.
Thank you, Tadra.
See you on the email.
Take care. And we'll get some email from Tadra pretty soon, I'm sure. So yeah, and here we are, just the 6 of us left, and we've got about 5 minutes left on the show. I'm curious to hear what some of the memories, like what's something truly memorable that's happened to you at either this NINC or previous one. Cameron, I feel like I need to come to you because we haven't gotten to talk to you that much yet.
I've heard some memories. I don't know. I'm trying to think of things that have happened there, but I've heard some stories from there. I don't know if somebody is able to tell them, but
you can't share someone else's memories, man.
Cameron made mine and Tadra's conference by gifting us plotter otters.
Yeah.
And
That's
the plotter
really
otter was
positive.
born at NINC, actually. It started the year that we had the vendor room, and it was really freezing in there. And we didn't want to stick around, but it was Mel, Kevin, Ryan, and I, and maybe somebody else. We were just brainstorming plotter mascots, and I liked the platypus, and
the duck-billed platypus.
Yeah.
But
it's just it's a funny idea. It just doesn't have the same ring. And then a couple hours later, Kevin came back with, what about the plotter otter? And that was it just made sense. It just fit. So that's where it was born.
Look, if you ever build in a premium service on Plotter and call it Plotter Plus, then you can have the Plotter Plus platypus.
Oh boy!
Oh, I thought about that.
Yeah. So all right, that one's free. The rest are going to cost you. James, was Mark wasn't at this one this year?
Well, Mark was there pre-conference, and then on the Wednesday morning, as we started the conference, he flew to Mexico City to go and watch a band playing. He was too cool this week, but I think he did miss being at the conference. It was just a clash of dates. Yeah. I mean, there has been some moments over the years, some of which probably aren't best aired here, but I think the sessions themselves are the main focus. And I meant what I said earlier. I've come out with notes. I know I'm quite into AI imagery and stuff like that, and we're doing a course on it at the moment, but I still had learning experiences from was it Nick who did that course. And so I've got, so that's we should say that's the main thing. Falling down drunk at the end of the evening or watching somebody else do that is a sideline. But I did have one memory from last year when I think we had all in the ocean, which we all love. Kevin, we had these stingrays. I mean, there was like a bloom of them, and
totally talking me into getting into the water.
Yeah, but I went for a run in the morning, and I thought there were people swimming in the sea, and Mark had been swimming in the sea. And I thought, you can swim in the sea. They tell you just to do this little shuffle where you sort of push your foot, you wave your foot in the sea ahead of you, and if there's a stingray there, it'll go off and it'll all be fine. And I thought, okay, well, I'll do that just in case. And literally the very first swish of my foot in the shallows, this stingray just appeared and swam off. And I thought, well, I didn't realize there were that many. Like literally, it was going to be most footsteps. And so I pulled back. But I don't think anyone was stung this year, were they? I think last year someone was. But
oh, yeah, someone was stung last year. I can't remember who it was. But yeah. Wow. Really recommends getting in the water. Okay.
Someone's asking in the comments what the website is, and I don't know why I can't type it in. So it's ninc.com, NINC.com.
So there we are. Jim, was that you?
That was me.
All right. You didn't leave it up very long. Put that back up.
Go away.
That's ninc.com, NINC.com. And I think Lexi might be willing to drop that in the comments for us if she's paying.
Yeah, we're banned from putting links in, I see.
Yeah, I don't understand why, but go ahead and drop that in. And if you are watching this after the fact, it's NINC.com or listening to the podcast, NINC.com. And you do have to be, you don't have to be do you have to be a member to even attend the conference, or is it?
You either have to be a member or you have to qualify to attend as an industry guest.
Okay.
So like before I started planning NINC, I attended several times as an industry guest because I was an author assistant taking on new clients. You guys all are industry, you're sponsors, but if somebody wants to attend as an industry guest but not sponsor, we have somewhere on the website where you can apply, and there's just some basic criteria that says you need to offer services that are of value to the community. You need to be a member, not a member, but you need to have a positive reputation in the community, and you have to be willing to take on new clients, because we want to make sure that the member attendees are meeting people who are willing to work with them.
Yeah. We should also add that a lot of big name folks show up at this, especially industry people or industries. Apple sometimes has a presence there. You'll see Amazon there. So this is an opportunity for you to kind of introduce yourself, meet some of these people, and gain as an author. So, Nick, I'm sorry we didn't get to talk to you much, man. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
I have a question for Nick.
Okay, good.
Why does Randall Wood say that his memory from NINC is Nick's hair?
Are we sure we want to do this right now? Okay.
We only have
You
got 30 seconds, Nick.
Appropriate?
You got 30
I'll do the
seconds.
1 minute version. We were at a nice establishment called McNasty's in the evening, 1:30 a.m. I think is reasonable time to be there. And somebody came up to me and asked if they could take a picture of my hair. Now, this man might have been drinking a little bit, but I was a little confused nevertheless, and said no, but he wanted to make sure, he tapped me and wanted to make sure that it wasn't weird. He said, it's not weird. It's for my barber.
Yeah.
And I
want to look just like you.
Actually,
saying it's not weird makes it not weird.
That's what made it weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why. So my hair has been the talk of NINC.
It's good hair, Nick. You have good hair.
Good hair. Yeah.
This is a good. There's no hair right here. It's all
that formerly was on Dan Wood's chin. So just so everyone knows where that went. Well, we are going to have to wrap this up. As fun as this was, I really enjoyed this. I hope we get to do this again. I will say NINC is always a very special time for me. Some of my best memories in this business have come from attending. Mel, let Tadra know that all of us really appreciate the very hard work you guys do, and all the people who are on this call. I consider you all very close friends, and always honored to spend time with all of you except Nick. Always very honored. So that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up, everybody. Thank you all for being on the show, for helping us out here. For everyone else out there, make sure that you share, comment, subscribe. These are required of us by international YouTube law to tell you to do these things. And make sure that you bookmark d2dlive.com so that you know when special little events like this happen. We do one of these shows every week. It's usually just me and someone else, or a couple of people, but tune in for those, because these are very instructive to the author community, in my opinion. And before we leave, I'm going to run a little spot, everybody. So you guys hang out. Don't drop out on us right away. But we got a little spot that we run at the end. And otherwise, thanks to everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Ebooks are great, but there's just something about having your words in print. Something you can hold in your hands, put on a shelf, sign for a reader. That's why we created D2D Print, a print-on-demand service that was built for you. We have free, beautiful templates to give your book a pro look, and we can even convert your ebook cover into a full wraparound cover for print. So many options for you and your books. And you can get started right now at draftedigital.com.